This week, we're going to focus on a slower soybean export pace from the U.S. here compared to each of the last 2 years. Then we're going to shift our focus to South America, looking at weather trends in Brazil and Argentina, and wrap things up looking at long-term price trends for November soybean futures. Hi, this is Brian Basting with Advanced Trading. Let's talk about the soybean market. We moved into the last few days of November here, and there's quite a bit going on both domestically here in the U.S. and in South America. Let's start out this week looking at trends in soybean shipments from the U.S. Now we're looking here at the end of the first quarter of the crop year, which occurs here on November 30th. Focus in on that red bar. That's the year-to-date soybean shipments from the U.S. to China. Notice that's down from each of the last 2 years. In fact, that aggregate total is also down from each of the last 2 years. Here's the key message. Shipments to China are below each of the past 2 years. Now, the key point is the USDA overstating China crush for 22-23, or is China simply waiting for the potential of getting cheaper beans from Brazil, perhaps starting as early as January? We'll keep a close eye on the shipment pace for you moving forward. Now let's turn our focus to South America. Let's start out looking at where those soybeans are produced in Brazil. Of course, Brazil now is the largest soybean producer in the world. Several key states there in Brazil, starting north to south: Mato Grosso, Goiás, Minas Gerais, Paraná, Rio Grande do Sul, and Mato Grosso do Sul. Around 80 to 85% of those soybeans in Brazil. Let's turn our attention to that critical weather for Brazil as we move closer to December here. Our slides this week, as usual, are courtesy of T-Storm Weather. We're starting out here looking at rainfall over the next 7 days. Now, notice as we move further east and north, we're seeing more precip over those states. But as we move further west and south, it gets drier. So again, we're not fully into pod set and pod fill by any means, but that month of December certainly will be. So let's look at the next 2 weeks, and this will extend into the first few days of December. We're looking here at a pattern that is fairly mixed, well, closer to normal precip totals in the north, but as we move further south, particularly further west, it gets drier. So again, we're not going to read too much into this here in the last part of November, other than to say we're watching the trends very closely. Let's now turn our attention to Argentina. November is a critical month for planting beans in Argentina. Let's take a look at where those beans are produced. Several key provinces here in Argentina to highlight: Buenos Aires, Cordoba, Santa Fe, and Santiago del Estero, looking at around 80-85% of the beans are produced in those provinces. Let's take a look at the weather trends now for Argentina. A very warm trend is developing here over the next 14 days. In fact, temperatures in the mid-90s across these areas of Argentina. Again, not a yield determiner by any means, with planting just getting underway, but keep an eye on the long-term trends. Speaking of trends, let's look at the precip totals. There is some moisture moving in here next week, November 28th to December 3rd. It does look like a ½ inch to an inch in those areas. So again, looking at the next 2 weeks here, wrapping things up, a lot of red in that picture here across the key areas of Argentina. It means it's below normal. Here's the key message. Argentina beans aren't going to be setting and filling pods until we move into January, but we want to watch the trend because it does appear to be a La Nina pattern at the moment. Let's wrap things up this week looking at long-term trends in November soybean futures. Now, of course, the November 22 beans expired a couple weeks ago at about $14.42 a bushel, and that was $4.10 above the 5-year average. Now, as we turn our focus to November of 2023, however, it's trading at $13.75 a bushel. Notice that's the highest price ever for November soybean futures around Thanksgiving. Never seen prices this high. It's $3.40 above the 5-year average, and we still have 3+ months before the crop insurance price is set. Strongly encourage you to defend your balance sheet, working closely with your trusted risk management advisor. Now, if you'd like more information, please feel free to contact us at 800-664-2321. We'll put you in contact with one of our risk management consultants who'll be happy to visit with you at your convenience. And remember, we update every Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Thanks a lot. Hope you have a happy Thanksgiving.